Hey guys, welcome back to NAS 7166 studio. Today is Tuesday, and normally you'll see Rick or Rhonda, both of them are here. It's a Rick and Rhonda show. Obviously, both are out today. My name is Anas Mengla. I'm the owner of NAS 716 studio, and I wanted to welcome you back to this beautiful day today. The day after July 4th. So it's always, we're always, at this time we had a beautiful long weekend and we're just getting back. Today just feel like a Monday. But let me tell you, before I introduce my guest, before we talk about anything else, I'm going to tell you what we have going on for rest of the week here at NAS 716 studio. During the weekdays, every day at 6 p.m. we do have a show. On Monday is Clearing the Mist with Ken Hamilton. On Tuesday, you get to see the Rick and Rhonda show. This Monday, Ken Hamilton was out because it was July 4th, and I'm sure that he was busy with the celebrations of July 4th weekend as well. Rick and Rhonda are out today. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, you will get to see Vicky Weidman with her Vibing with Vicky show. Beautiful show. If you haven't been part of this so far, you guys should tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. On Thursday is Keeping It Frank with Frank Handley. He does a wonderful job as well. A really great show to listen to. And on the Friday is Faith Matters with Dr. Nasir Khan. He would invite people from different faiths or people with no faith and sit down and talk about various aspects of our faith, our lives that we live. Again, 6 p.m. every single day during the weekdays, you'll be able to find something to do at studio. Today, I am joined by, and I apologize, we're running late for a few minutes too, but I'm joined by my wonderful friend Ron Cunningham. Okay, your camera is right there, Ron. But I can't believe that I just met him a few days ago. I'll tell you how our friendship has flourished within even a few days. I feel like I've known you for forever. Welcome to our show.
Well, look, I'm delighted to be here. I'm certainly happy to be your friend. You have a lot of things going on here now. So I really enjoyed the last week when we were here. We had that big party you threw. Mm-hmm. It was a very nice party. We were able to provide some of the refreshments and stuff with it. It was very nice, and we had some good people here, and it was packed. And I liked the pet farm you had here. You had some horses here. Yeah. And from where I'm from, they like all that kind of stuff. You had some good music, and you had some genuine people. I met a lot of interesting people. I've been to the pet farm since I went there and I checked that out. It was very nice. I'm going to be utilizing that. And I just want you to know that the more people come, like yourself, and invest in this community, the better the community will be.
Mm-hmm. No, what I enjoy, and I just want to remind our people who are watching this show too, you're talking about the last weekend on Saturday we had Community Day, NAS Community Day.
Right.
We had a lot of vendors in our outside in the parking lot. We did some podcast 101 training for some of the students. We did some makeup and hygiene and that training for some of the students as well. And outside we had a lot of fun stuff going. The bounce house, the petting zoo, the pony ride, and so much more. The people were able to enjoy it. It was a nice day, and then we did that show just to bring the community. But before we talk about that, and we'll come back to that, people want to know who Ron Cunningham is. So why don't you take a few seconds to introduce
I'm a
yourself.
lifelong resident of Niagara Falls, New York. I came up here when I was 6 months old, and I went back to D.C. for a little short period of time. I was born in Washington, D.C. And I enjoy this community. It's a great community. And see, now, as you're coming on the tail end of a great community, man.
Yeah,
this whole community used to rock. East Side, North End, we had a ball here. And a very, very prosperous town. At one time, we were the industrial complex of the Eastern Seaboard. Now we are a Rust Belt trying to embrace tourism. But I have faith in the city because we have a great mayor. He's trying to do what he has to do. And I'm a truant spouse for the Niagara Falls City School Board. Mm-hmm. And I've had a lot of great experiences with the school board. We have some great people who are concerned about our youth.
Okay, so I remember when I met you, you told me that you retired and you were asked to come back and join the team again. So what do you do? What exactly is your job?
I'm a truancy officer. What I do is I help youth who are enrolled in school who are struggling with attendance issues.
Okay.
Now, this may it may be because there's an income problem. Welfare didn't send a check, and we have to go talk to them. It may be they need transportation. It may be some things are not right. We do a lot of stuff, and you know, this is a great city, but there's also a lot of poverty here too. So we got to make sure that everybody's eating well, everybody's dressing well, and everybody's enjoying themselves in the right spirit. You know, see, my spiritual code of conduct doesn't allow me to just let everything slide, let everything go. I believe that our youth are our future, but we are also the foundation. And we've got to, you know, look out to make sure they're doing the right thing, because they think they know, but they don't always know. I mean, you know, I know one kid, I said, look, wait, let me get this straight. You've been busy, but you don't have a job. You don't pay the electric bill, you don't pay the gas bill, you don't pay the cable, but you utilize all that. I said, one of the things is, you have parents, there must be respect. The attitude of gratitude is sorely missing. We've got to change the dynamics. We've got to change the culture. The way we do that is one by one, talking to people, talking to the young people, let them know that they count. You got to speak truth to power. You got to tell them the truth.
Okay, so you get to talk to our youth a lot.
And the parents.
And the parents as well. Yeah. But I feel like there's sometimes there's a disconnect. There's a gap, generation gap. They will call it too. The new generation is more on social media. Maybe parents are more on social media. So what do you hear when you talk to kids? Where is the disconnect?
I think the disconnect is people don't really talk anymore. People text, and if you text me, I really don't know how you feel. I see what you wrote, but I can't read you. And it's important for me to be able to see people in the flesh and talk to them. You know, I can send a few text messages and all that, you know, yes or no. That's what all that's good for. But if I want to see, the reason I don't like to depend too heavily on technology is because you don't always get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate.
Yeah.
Negotiating on text messages is it's not a very good way to do things. We can say yes or no, or this is the deal, yes or no, I'll take it. But you know, we don't communicate anymore, and that's the problem. Kids come to the table, they eating food, they're playing with the telephones, cell phones, and they're not talking. And parents got to talk to kids. They got to hear you, and that's the problem. And sometimes the TVs for a long time and Fortnite games and all those things are raising our children. And that is why I really believe this. Me and my son had a debate about this. My son's named Black Ernie. He's a comedian. He's a real funny guy. He opens up for, you ever hear of Mike Epps?
I did.
He's a great comedian. He opens up for him sometime he comes to town.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking about, he made some sense. People try to blame technology for kids not having any respect, or for youth not listen to their parents, or being incompassionate. But he says, Dad, you know, one of the things is when people get those games for their kids, they should explain to them, well, son, this is a game. They're shooting people and killing people with this game. But if you do that in real life, you're going to jail. You have to pay a big bill. You go before a jury of your peers, and you might do a long time in jail where you become a slave. I said, yeah, you are a slave. When you go to jail, you are a slave. When you go to jail, you don't have any rights. You could say all the rights you got. But when them cell doors close, what rights do you really have? And I try to tell young people, sometimes they get a break and they could sue the state and all that. But by and large, that's like 1 to 2% of the whole situation. You've got to understand that we are living in a very perilous times. These are perilous times.
Yeah. So the few things that I believe in is that youth are, just what you said, youth are the backbone of any community. And if you want to reform a community, you need to reform the youth. And by looking at youth, you can tell where a community is going to end up, because that will be the next generation. About 15, 20 years, today's children, today's teenagers are going to take over. They will be leading the community. And I just want to remind you guys too, you can definitely join this this conversation as well. You can go on Facebook. If you're already watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you can ask your questions. And if you ask questions during the live show, they'll be posted right here on the screen, and we'll be able to talk to you as well.
Let me say this. I firmly believe, though,
Yeah.
talk about community.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that strong families build strong communities. You have a discombobulated group of families, you're going to have a discombobulated community. And people talk about community. I don't know if we really have a community, or do we have neighborhoods.
Yeah.
If you have a community, then you control the police department, the stores, the businesses. You have a say-so in what goes on, and you have a voting block that you can utilize to keep things in your community. Mm-hmm. And you have banks and stuff in your community. If you don't have that, you just have a neighborhood. Sometimes a lot of the good neighborhoods have left, and we just have the hood. That's why they call it the hood. The neighbors are gone, you know. So I just believe that it begins in your home. And these days, a lot of people say, well, I don't believe the church ain't doing their job. Well, I believe the church has been the backbone of many communities, not only the black community, Hispanic community, white community. Churches are still very relevant.
Yeah.
And I really think God's relevant.
You're right about that, and I'll say one more thing too, that people, there are two types of people: people who do things and people who blame others for things not being done. Yeah. So if you want to fix your youth, it has to start with you. 90% of the training, the discipline is done at home. So if you leave your child in front of the TV and that's all their training, all their learning is, then that's what they're going to learn, right? But let me ask you this though: you're talking about you're trying to keep youth from prison and jail and all that, and becoming slave to the system as well. I'm talking about system,
yes.
Like the video game. You're sitting in front of
right.
it and that's all you do. How do you make them into leaders? Is leadership something that you're born with, or is that something that you can adapt, you can learn, or can you teach somebody to become a leader too? Because you've been doing this for a long time. I'm sure that you have stories to share. Some of the youth that are doing really phenomenal job right now. Like your own son, you mentioned.
I don't think leadership, you're necessarily born a leader. Mm-hmm. I think where you emanate from. Mm-hmm. I think Martin Luther King wasn't born a leader.
Yeah.
He had great training, went to good schools, had a father, the mother that cared about him, and he was trained. And sometimes children get lucky and get a mentor of some type and they can make it. But I think leaders are developed. Once in a while you may got a guy with just extraordinary powers, but I think it emanates from the culture. Mm-hmm. You've got a lot of kids out there who have great leadership ability, but do not have any skills. They don't know how to conduct themselves, and they don't know how to get from point A to point B. And education is critical because it helps you do critical thinking. Mm-hmm. I think that you take a kid from a good family, maybe even a nerd, they might end up being a tough guy's boss later on in life. Mm-hmm. Because they've got the training, they've got the discipline. And people talk about schools, they're not relevant. Schools are relevant. And I think we could do a better job and the schools are changing. They're shallowing people. They got students now. I just left a seminar in Buffalo at Erie County Community College. What they were talking about is the fact that they have to develop proper job etiquette and behaviors. Mm-hmm. They go on a job and tell the guy, I ain't doing that. I don't do. Yeah, you're getting paid to do that. Do it. And if they're not disciplined at home, it's a problem with them being able to hold down a job. And if they're late all the time at school, chances are they're going to be late at work.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You're
and they have to get properly trained. You have to invest and be a stakeholder in your child's own social growth and development.
Yeah.
See,
So the environment plays a big role in it. We were just talking about July 4th weekend, and as well this weekend I was on road basically from July 1st in Canada, because that was Canada Day. My family lives there. I was visiting them, and then I went to Ohio, and then all the way from Ohio to Toronto. So to Buffalo, Niagara Falls here last night. I saw a lot of fireworks. So people are, we definitely love this country. It's a beautiful country as well, but there are a lot of immigrants who moved, like me, like my family, who moved from a place where it didn't, even if he had any leadership skills, it didn't really matter, because the resources, the help that you need is not available. But here in this beautiful country that we live in, we're talking about that right now, that there's always help available, whether people know or not. And you are one of those people who help youth.
I've been here a while, and I've seen this country at its apex, and I've seen it down here below. I've seen grandmamas used to take care of the family, and they had a strong nuclear family and a strong extended family. You don't see that anymore. In some cases, the grandma out there at the club, just like the granddaughter at the club, not the daughter, the granddaughter.
Yeah.
You see, I have granddaughters, I have great grandkids too.
Yeah.
And one of the things we got to do is, children are great imitators. Therefore, we must give them something great to imitate. See, you sit there smoking weed with your child, that's a no-no. You know what I mean? We've got to really stop trying to be our kid's friend and be the parent that you need to be.
Okay, so regarding that, the question will be that you mentioned Dr. Martin Luther King a few minutes ago as well. For the youth in Niagara Falls, there are some role models that you mentioned, yourself as well.
There's a lot of role models.
So who do we look up to? Who do we imitate?
Well, I know a lot of role models, but do those kids have access to those role models?
That's what I'm saying. That should be accessible as well.
Some of the role models I know when I was coming up there was a guy named Big Slick, big guy.
Yeah.
But he always tried to tell me the right thing to do. There's a guy by the name of Robert Bradley. I used to I used to do concerts and stuff like that. But Mr. Bradley is the one that started taking me to concerts. I said, "Here's my $5 for the trip." He said, "No, I'll keep your money." He said, "Just stay in school." Yeah, and they cared about the youth today. And then what happened to our community? Drugs. They say sometimes the government did it, other people did it. Drugs have devastated many communities, destroyed the social fabric, the spiritual fabric, even the physical and mental fabric of a community. Drugs it's like the devil's been unleashed. And it's hard for them to get back to square one. Them drugs is something else. It's like shaking a hand with the devil. You don't know what kind of deal you're going to end up with. And I think that we have to really understand that it is up to the parents to raise their children, up to the schools to teach their children. It's up to the community to pitch in and help where they can.
How do you do that? As a parent, you send your kids to school. I have kids too. My son is sitting behind the camera right now doing the production of this. How do you make sure that your kid is not getting involved in that kind of stuff?
Well, first of all, you got to do this. You got to talk to your children. Everything begins with a conversation. You've got to talk to them. Then when my kids come out, I knew who my friends were. My kids' friends were. I knew the telephone numbers and how to get in touch with them. My mother, my best friends, my mother knew all of my buddies' friends. My mother knew who they were. And we do something wrong, before we got home, my mother knew about it. And I was the kind of kid, I never wanted to embarrass my mother, you know. And another problem we got in terms of black community, but it's really becoming rampant in the white community too. We're involved with a matriarchal family structure.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, who was a very wise, Mamie Cunningham, she didn't take any stuff. She raised 3 boys by herself. Every summer, for several years, we got shipped off to Washington, D.C., where I was born. We had uncles and grandfather down there,
Mm-hmm.
and we stayed with them. And they had construction companies. We worked. So I'm not a stranger to work. I'm retired. I still work. On property, I'm retired. I still own cars, property, because we work. And down there, if you didn't work, you ain't going to eat, boy. You got to work.
So it does come back to the point that I made with you off camera one time. I said that one of the ways that you can keep your kids away from gun and violence and drugs and alcohol and everything else that's out there is by keeping them busy with something. They need to have some sort of hobby, a skill, something that they can learn. They can be part of a studio like this. They can join your wonderful program that you have going on at Doris Jones and other places too, right?
I understand this. Well, I have friends at Doris Jones that do great things, but I understand this. Then all things get an understanding. A lot of parents think that give them the new Jordans, give them the clothes, have them looking good, make sure the girl gets her hair done, fried, laid to the side. Hair looks nice, but what's inside your head? What do you know? What skills do you have? What are you trying to be? What is your goals in life? We have to set goals, and one of the things about parents, and some of them just great parents, you have to have expectations for your child.
Mm-hmm.
You come there and you go work every day. The child should have some chores around that house. Clean up, cut the grass. Why are you cutting the grass, Mama? With this boy, you got a lawnmower and you cut the grass. He's sitting there eating a bologna sandwich and a cold Pepsi, and you're working like a Hebrew slave. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yep.
Or government mule. You're working hard. We've got to understand that we have to talk to our children. You know, we don't want to end up with a lot of dumb kids with smart cell phones. We want to have smart kids that control the cell phones. And we got to be careful what our kids are doing on the internet, what they're doing in real life. Are they smoking weed? Are they vaping? What are they doing? You need to know these things. And it's hard because there's many negative social influences that adversely affect our children. But we've got to be out there saying, look, Jim, this is the deal. And you got to talk to them. And you got friends, you got their friends, talk to their friends. You know, I see kids coming, kids, their friend's house, show no respect for the people in the house. What kind of stuff is that? You come to my house with my daughter, my child, I want to know who you are, who your parents are, and what do you do, and what grade you are, and what school do you go to. And by the way, do you have a number yet? What's your phone number? So if I want to get my kid, I got to call. I got to know who you're hanging out with. You just pray every day to get home safely. You got to pray where they're at. Are they in a safe place they leave your house?
Okay. Well, we're at the end of the show right now.
All right.
But let's leave everything. Let's end the show on a positive note. If you can talk to the parents right now, or if you can talk to those students who are in Niagara Falls, first of all, how did they get in touch with you or other people who can inspire them? Number one. Number two, what would be your positive message? What the program that you do, are they successful, and how can they be part of this?
Well, the positive note is that I have a lot of hardworking parents out there and intelligent students. What advice I have to parents: talk to your child, know what they're doing, and how they're doing it, and when they're doing it. Talk to your child. We have a great community.
Yeah.
We have to regain our consciousness. We have to regain our spiritual code of conduct where we talk to our kids. And the schools are doing a great job. I think a lot of parents look at it, they care. But the government is another problem because they make things so hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, you give people things, but people got to earn things too. And you got to know what's right and what's wrong, and we got to teach our kids what's right and what's wrong. If your kids see you doing something wrong, don't think they ain't going to try it, because they're great imitators, as I said before. But I think that Niagara Falls is a great place to grow up in. I couldn't wait till I get home from them trips my mother sent me my two brothers on down in D.C. But I think that that this town's going to turn around. I think we have a superintendent that's very, very conscientious. I know parents that make it to the hockey games, that care about their children. And sometimes parents can't be there all the time, but then you need to find a family member or a person you can trust to help you with your kids. We all need help. Yeah. I've got grandkids now that I have to shag sometime. Yeah. You know, and I have to go. I say, how's so and so? I go check on them. But everybody can't do that. It's hard. But I think we have a great community of people. Niagara Falls is one of the best places to grow up in. And I think we can regain that. I think we can again become the king of power, queen of beauty, and the honeymoon capital of the world if we work at it. Yeah. And I think this city's beginning to come back.
There you go, guys. This is the final word from Ron Cunningham. Thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate. To summarize everything he said, he's saying that we have to be the role model. There are other people, but as parents, as the community leaders, our children can directly access us anytime. They are watching us, so they'll do what we do. If we want them to make a change in their life, we need to make changes in our life as well. Thank you so much for coming in today.
My extreme pleasure.
This is the first show, but we'll have you back here as well. We'll probably try to get the youth he's talking about, we'll try to get them involved. Maybe they can have their own show here as well. We are live every weekday at 6 p.m. For example, on Monday we have a show with Ken Hamilton. He does Clearing the Mist. And on Tuesday is the Rick and Rhonda Show. On Wednesday is Vibing with Vicky Weidman. On Thursday, Keeping It Frank with Frank Handley. On a Friday, you'll get to see Dr. Nasir Khan. He does wonderful job with the show Faith Matters. You should definitely watch all of these shows. But you can be part of this this production as well. If you're one of the parents who want to have a show and want to start something new, contact us. Our information is on our page, and thank you so much for watching this show. And one final word from you.
Rick and Rhonda. Rick is a great friend. Is one of my proteges from the Boys Club. Yeah. And Rhonda is also my daughter. Yeah. She'll be back in town tonight. She's visiting her aunt in Alexandria, right across from D.C. She's there. Yeah. So I keep track. Me and my daughter talk just about every morning. She just had, Pop, how you doing? We talk. And we have a lot of good parents here. Some of the things have gotten loose, and we got to pull it back to the house. That's all. Yeah.
Keep it simple. There you go, guys. Thank you so much for watching the show. Have a wonderful day.